But is this actually new? And what is compelling the government to scrap expenditure on fuel allowances? Well, our research team has been doing some digging. They have been trying to fish out what exactly government is seeking to achieve and how much they plan to rake in with this new initiative. Our lead data and research analyst, Kofi Agyei, joins me in the studio with some fresh perspective. Kofi, today we've been trying to find out what exactly government plans to do. But let's go back down memory lane, really. This is not the first time an administration is doing this, is it?
Absolutely, Fossey. This is not new. This is not the first time that in the tight fiscal position, government is resorting to some of these measures like cutting down on fuel allowances. But what we understand is that the last time this happened was somewhere 2023, and this was captured in the budget, in the 2023 budget, that government, around that time, Kenneth Ofori-Atta was the finance minister, and he said government was going to cut fuel allowances to appointees by 50%. And so although we have seen it before, and the last time we saw anything of that magnitude came with a 50% cut. But this time around, we are seeing it again, but the dynamics are different, where President Mahama has directed 100% cancellation of the fuel allowances to all political appointees. And we have been trying to understand what really is compelling government to actually go on this tangent. And we understand that per the directives, this will affect political appointees who are in ministries, departments, and agents of government, and then also metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, and then also state-owned enterprises. Political appointees in these areas will be affected. The last time this happened, we understand it affected so many things like fuel coupons and all of those things that you give to political appointees. And we do not know if this time around it's going to be the same. But we are picking cue from what happened the last time, and we understand that this is what happened. And in fact, the biggest question that almost everybody is asking is, what is really compelling government to do this? So we decided to go into the IMF program to actually understand if there is any fiscal, in terms of constraint that government is facing. And then we understood that if you look at how much the IMF is expecting government to spend this year, that is lower than what government projects to spend this year. So for instance, government is projecting that in 2025, if you take away clearance of arrears, amortization, and other things, government is hoping to expend some 271 billion Ghana cedis. That's about 27.1 billion US dollars in expenditure this year. But the IMF says, hold on, our projection shows that you should be spending 267 billion Ghana cedis and not 271 billion.
So that's a deficit.
Absolutely.
Really.
So already government is racing to actually close some of this gap. And we understand that if you look at the last assessment that the IMF did of government program, the IMF program, you understand that there were a lot of slippages. And if you look at expenditure outside of the gift me system in excess of 40 billion Ghana cedis, all of these things happen in the election year, and we need to get back on track. And we were learning from the governor, the Bank of Ghana governor, who said that at a point when they met the IMF, they were even reconsidering, they were considering cancelling the entire IMF program and possibly restarting the whole thing again because of
many lapses.
Absolutely. The IMF caused this large fiscal slippages. And when some of these things happen, you need to find alternatives to close the gap. And we understand that government lost in excess of 2 billion for scrapping the e-levy, lost somewhere close to about 200 million Ghana cedis for scrapping the withholding tax on betting and all of that. Although they have actually showed us that there are ways they can actually recover. All of these things are projections. And the IMF is also worried that this could affect the revenue basket of the country. And so if some of these things are coming up, it is a way that, that's not the only way government is going to use to close this gap, but it's one sure way government can use to close the, rising expenditure of government. And we try to understand how much government could be saving. So what did we do? We went into the data to understand how much government has been spending on fuel allowances. Let me take you back to 2022 to where government spent 438 million Ghana cedis on fuel allowances alone that year.
Say that again.
438 million Ghana cedis on fuel allowances.
Interesting.
Then you come to 2023, it spends 600 million Ghana cedis on fuel allowances. Although we do not have the 2024 data, our projection is that if you look at the rate of change and the rate at which fuel allowances budget increases, government could have spent close to 680 million Ghana cedis on fuel allowance alone in 2025. And looking at it from the fact that it was an election year, it could be around 700 million Ghana cedis. So if it's the entire fuel allowance that we are looking at, government could be saving possibly not less than 500 million Ghana cedis if they decide to cancel the entire fuel allowance package in 2025.
Interesting.